Indeed, many thanks. Welcome to each and every one of you for tuning into the Dismayed Gourmet. Apropos of nothing, my editor is a vile harpy with all of the warmth of liquid hydrogen. You see, she understands full well the pressures of my HOA fees, and yet she has elected not to give me an assignment this week. As a result, I went into a rage and drunkenness, spun out of control, threw things around the office, and was eventually dragged out by security. But as I got home and started reading a little bit of Khalil Gibran and became a bit more peaceful, I dropped into a reverie of last summer when I was invited to the celebration of my wealthy older brother's nuptials. And it was an event in whose fourth such presentation belied the adage that 3 times was a charm. It obviously was not. Ironic, isn't it, that given all of these wives, that both of his children were born out of wedlock. Well, while I held out shallow hope for the longevity of this, his 4th such union, I looked forward to an expertly catered mid-August feast on the Vineyard. As one who has sampled the 1969 post-Camille hurricane shrimp bounty in the Gulf of Mexico, when I was presented with a thawed rondelette of prefabricates, I was at a rare loss for words in attempting to insult it. Size does matter where shrimp are concerned, and the shriveled rinds of sea meat, whose mottled curl resembled a newborn child's pink wrinkled fingers, made me long for the jumbos of St. Croix. Steamer trays of Swedish meatballs were then presented, alongside chicken wings and haddock squares with stuffing so dried out it produced lacerations on my gums. I wondered how my brother, in spite of all of his wealth, could be so devoid of taste as to not know the difference between a quality seafood purveyor and the savage miscreant with the rusted white Dodge van reeking of the mariner's spoils that sat in his driveway. There were more flies circling it than there were in the windows of Amityville's horror. A cheesecake with cherries was, to be kind, terrible, and the chocolate mousse was surprisingly absent antlers. The lemon meringue pie was heavily infused with preservative-laden citric compounds, and if I were under pain of duress to speak in its favor, I could in good conscience attest that it perhaps avoided a buffer against the likelihood of scurvy. Would that my father had a few slices when he was hunkered down in the sub-zero of Korea's Chosan Reservoir, or the Frozen Chosen, as it was called, as he said to me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. He might not have lived the last half of his life with a limp and occasional twitch, perhaps even less of a quickness to anger. My brother is a Philistine. He doesn't know a king crab from an opilio. His latest marriage, it has been annulled. And so I can look forward to one of 2 results, should there ever be a 5th. Either a superior culinary presentation, or perhaps a passing over in the invitation process. In either case, I shall forever remain truly yours, the Dismayed Gourmet.